On April 14, 2013, there was a shooting in Lexington, Colorado where the suspect, Clyde Barrow, entered Turnberry Elementary School and began shooting. He fatally shot 20 students and 6 staff members before taking his own life. Today we will be sitting down with a second grade teacher, a third grade teacher, and a kindergarten teacher from the school to hear their side of what happened and see what they believe should be done in order to prevent tragedies like these from happening in the future. Before the shooting occurred, what was your view on gun control?
Before the shooting, I didn't really think about gun control, and I didn't see it having as much influence on America as it does today, and now, obviously, since the shooting. But maybe after this, we will have stricter gun control laws to prevent tragedies like this from happening.
Before the shooting, I was pretty neutral on the topic. I mean, yeah, we've had problems. I kind of understood something needed to be done. But like from a teacher's standpoint, I never really thought of guns. I knew there was always a threat in school. But yeah, like I said, just wasn't really a big deal to me.
Before the shooting, I was definitely against gun control. I didn't think it would really affect any crime rates at all, but I never really in my life thought that I would personally be affected by something like this. Now that I've lost 6 fellow co-workers and 20 innocent students, my thoughts on gun control have drastically changed. I now believe something can definitely be done to save thousands of innocent people.
Where were you when the shooting was going on?
During the shooting, I was taking attendance in my classroom. We were having arts and craft day, so I was getting all the supplies out, taking attendance, and then I heard all the gunshots, and I gathered all the students in the bathroom because we have a handicapped bathroom in my room, and I gathered them all in there and told them to be quiet and not to worry.
During the shooting, I was in my classroom getting stuff set up for the day with my 3rd grade class, and I just kind of getting everybody taking attendance, and then heard the shots start to ring out, and that's when all hell broke loose.
So before the shooting, I was in my classroom with my 2nd grade class, and I was sitting at the desk getting my lesson plan together, and that's when I heard the shots go off down the hall. I immediately jumped up and had the kids duck under their desks. I ran and closed the door and turned off the lights. I wanted to make sure that it looked as if no one was in the classroom, so that hopefully the shooter would walk right by.
What was running through your mind while the shooting
All I
was
thought
going
about
on?
during the shooting was how all these innocent children's lives are being put in danger, and I was trying to figure out what I could do to protect them and how I would want someone else to protect my child if they were in this type of situation. So that's all I thought about, and that's how I acted.
I was extremely worried about the lives of my kids. I got them all together and told them to get under desks and kind of hide wherever they could in the room. I tried to barricade the door as best I could, but I was worried about their lives way more than I was mine, because they have so much to live for.
All I could think about really was what was going through the kids' heads. I definitely didn't want gunshots to be the last thing they heard, so I was really focused on keeping them quiet so the gunman would not try to get into the room, or hopefully would pass right by.
What was the one thing that impacted you most from
The thing that impacted me most from the shooting was how I felt during that time and the fear that was with me. Ever since then, I've had that constant fear, thinking that something else is going to happen and that it's not over.
Probably the shooter trying to come into my room. Like I said, I had the door barricaded, and he came up and tried to kick the door in, and I'd heard shots pretty much coming down the whole hallway, and he tried to kick the door, and it wouldn't open. He passed over our classroom, luckily.
I would say the thing that definitely impacted me the most was that by some miracle, the shooter never came to my classroom. From the moment I heard the gunshots, I was just waiting for the shooter to break into my room. But somehow he never came in. I'm so thankful to still have my life and to still have all of my students, but I'm still distraught that I've lost some fellow coworkers and students that I knew.
In your opinion, who or what is to blame for this
I
tragedy?
blame the school safety. I feel like there's not enough safety measures being taken in the schools. There's innocent children there and they're young and they can't protect themselves, so we should have better safety in schools.
I personally think the government is to blame for the shooting, because if we had had tighter gun control laws, like now that I realize it, there would have been ways to prevent all this beforehand, before it even all started. We would have been able to know who had the gun, why he had it, pretty much everything about it, and we could have prevented this from happening a lot sooner.
I do not blame the guns for this tragedy. I blame Adam Lanza, the gunman, for it. We'll never know what went through his head when he went through these actions, but it would never have happened if it wasn't for him. But I do think that having stricter gun laws might have prevented this from happening. It may have prevented Adam from never getting a gun in the first place.
After this shooting, have your views about gun control
After
changed?
the shooting, I believe that we should have more security in schools. We should have school resource officers, because if those resource officers were there, maybe they could have stopped the shooter from coming in.
After all this, my views of gun control have definitely changed. I can now say that we should do everything we can in order to prevent anything like this from happening further, such as everything they've proposed in all the bills, background checks, anything that they can do to prevent more innocent lives from being taken like this.
Like I said, my ideas on gun control have drastically changed. Before, I didn't really believe in gun control. I didn't think it would do much. But now that I've been physically affected by a gunman, I am truly against guns being in the wrong hands. If we could keep guns out of the mentally handicapped and criminals' hands, this nation would be a much safer place. It would be a hard task, but keeping guns out of their hands would keep innocent children, like the students lost in this tragedy, out of harm's way.
Do you think there could have been steps taken to prevent this tragedy from happening?
Yes, it did. Like, there should be school resource officers. They would be in front of the school. Maybe they could prevent him from coming in, or like call for backup, and those lives would not have been lost.
At this point, I don't think anything really could have been done to prevent it. In school, we could have maybe had some extra precautionary measures, but in a small town like this, you don't expect anything like that to happen. We could have had a security guard, maybe, I don't know, maybe self-locking doors, anything in the school that could have prevented him from getting inside so easily.
The only thing that could have prevented this from happening in my mind are the stricter gun laws to keep the gun out of his hands, and maybe better security at the school. Even having a police officer patrolling the neighborhood might have been enough to stop Clyde from killing so many kids.
In your opinion, how will this
Our
affect?
community lost several family and friends, and those innocent children. They could have grown up to be scientists, veterinarians. They could have done anything. After this, it will take a while for our community to be back how it was.
This community's been scarred forever now. Families lost their children and their daughters, sons, teachers. I mean, it's going to take a lot of time to rebuild from something like this.
I feel that the local community and the nation will definitely see more talk about gun control. I believe this tragedy could have been prevented if we had tighter laws, and I also believe that the president and many other people agree with me. So I believe that tighter gun laws will be the talk for a long while.
As we have observed today, these teachers want the best for their students. I have spoken with the teachers, and every one of them has something to say about implementing new gun safety measures. The teachers have decided to come together and make a new proposal for gun control laws. Their proposal would limit the number of magazines an individual can purchase at one time, require stricter background checks for anyone looking to purchase a firearm, require registration for all firearms, and they are calling for an immediate ban on assault rifles. With this proposal in place, the teachers hope gun violence in America will be kept out of the lives of innocent children.